Welcome to a new video. Today I've been given the opportunity to try out Ohuhu's brand new refills for their alcohol markers. Previously they sold individual markers as replacements if any of yours had run out, but they've since brought out refills, something I've been hoping for a while now and was honestly pretty excited to hear about when they reached out to me. These refills are dedicated to 4 of the Ohuhu series: Honolulu, Ohuhu, Kala and Molokai. They're $4.99 for 16 milliliters of ink, which can be used to refill 3 to 8 times depending on the pen you're refilling. They've chosen 51 most popular marker colours as refill options, so it's not every single Ohuhu colour out there, it's just the most popular ones, and I've been given 24 of them to try out today. So this is about half of what they're offering. So for today's video I was planning to show you how to use these to refill your markers. Yeah, so they come with instructions showing you the 2 methods of refilling. There's one where you pull the nib out and one where you just drip it in. I'll show you my amazing unboxing skills. I seem to struggle just pulling things out of packaging, as with everything. I've no idea why, but I managed to get it out. So here's what it looks like. It has the marks down the side, and then just the information at the end of which pens you can use them on. It only shows the Honolulu and Ohuhu set, but you can use them for the other ones as well, I believe. So this one is the R19, and this is the other one I'm unboxing, which is the black, just 120. It's advised to put down protection when refilling them, so I've put down a lid for a huge box I have, and a paper towel just to prevent any mess at all. Although I end up not needing it, like I didn't make a mess at all, which is strange for me. So yeah, I've got the black from the Ohuhu set and the R19 from the Honolulu set. I've got my tweezers ready and a pot just to make it a little easier to put things in. So then you just use your tweezers and pull out the nib, which was a little difficult. I've cut it down so it looks easy, but it's really in there, which is actually quite reassuring. But yeah, you really just need to pull it out, and then you take the nib and you just pop it in. I expected it to go in further, but it wouldn't, so you can just gently squeeze it like a pipette. It's better to underfill them than overfill them, which I might have done, I'm not sure, but yeah, it leaks out a little bit there, which is fine, it's easy to clean. But I know that that pen is full, which is reassuring. And then just pop the nib back in using tweezers. You don't want your fingers getting dirty. And then the second method is the drip method, where you just squeeze it onto the nib itself, which is the easiest. You don't have to pull everything apart, but I believe it takes longer to actually refill it. The less ink you have in the pen, the longer it will take to refill because you were just dripping it onto the nib. Yeah, so I then wanted to show off me using the pens. I wanted to draw a piece somewhat inspired by the refills themselves, and since I am still in a Zelda mood, I thought it would be fun to do something mixing them both. So I had a couple ideas for this, but this is the one I went with. So it's refilling the Master Sword from Breath of the Wild. I wanted to do it for Tears of the Kingdom, but rejuvenating the Master Sword itself is more Breath of the Wild, and you do something similar in Tears of the Kingdom, but it just seemed more fitting to do it for Breath of the Wild. So that's what I've got here, and I'm just sketching it out. So the idea is Link comes across the depleted Master Sword in the forest, and he's all sad about it, and then a Korok comes over with one of the Ohuhu refills, suggesting that he tries using it. And then the bottom picture, which is the one I started with, is just him refilling the sword, and it's got all its magic and its glowiness back. Yeah, I just thought it'd be really cute. I also think this is a handy way to show you like how I fill my pages. As you could tell, I started with the second part of this, I guess, little comic first. I drew the end because it is the main focus of it. That's just because when I film my pages, I like things to look like they are naturally overlapping. So the important things, the things that are important that I want to be the main focus are at the front and aren't likely to have anything covering them. Oh, and I really struggled with his mouth. I like sketching in coloured pencil, but the only problem with that is when you make a mistake, it is really hard to hide it. I wasn't too bothered because I thought the markers would cover it up later, which they do for the most part. That is something nice about using coloured pencils with alcohol markers, is they kind of just, they almost get absorbed into the image itself. But yeah, I wanted to draw Link in his climbing gear just because I really like how it looks. I didn't want to draw him in his bog standard outfit. I thought the climbing gear almost looked like typically artistic, like how things are drawn in games when you're like, oh, that person's an artist. But it's the climbing gear. I just like all the little knickknacks he has on him and all the layers. And honestly, I think it was the bandana that sold it for me. I thought, that's nice, I really like how that looks. And then up here, I really went easy on drawing him when he's all slumped, just because it is a small picture. So one, it's harder to add the details, but two, it's also not that necessary. So you might have noticed I haven't actually drawn his eyes and his mouth, but that's okay because the eyebrows kind of give off the whole emotion and vibe that I wanted it to have. So I sped up the sketching here just because, you know, it's just the sketching, it's not the main focus of this video. I slow it down for the markers later. I am actually trying out a new editing method because when I do videos with Ohuhu markers, a few people in the past have said they like it when I add the name of the marker, like so it's easy for you to know what colours I've used when. To make it a bit easier for me when editing, I tried out something new this video where each time I use a marker I show it to the camera, and I just want to know what you guys think. Is it too jarring for it to suddenly be the focus, or does it look okay? It definitely makes it easier for me because I'm holding the pen at the time so I can show it to the camera, whereas when I'm editing it afterwards, sometimes it's harder to remember what colours I used and it can just be a hassle. Honestly, it's just to make it easier for me. But if you guys don't like it, I'm almost considering not carrying on with this in the future. I have a few other videos using Ohuhus that I am putting the name of the pens in the way I used to. But if this is too jarring and you guys don't like it, I'll probably just stop doing it entirely, just because it can be, it's just a hassle, if I'm being honest. It's nice to show you guys, and if you guys like it, I want to be as helpful in that way as possible, but at the end of the day, it's not the biggest important thing for me, if that makes sense. So yeah, just let me know if this method is better. But yeah, here I've started, so you can see what I was talking about with the whole pen thing. So I've started colouring it in, and the base skin tone was using that pen I refilled earlier, and it was really nice and juicy. I did go over the skin tone twice just because I think it's the paper I use, the book I use seems to be streaky with these pens, and I'm not entirely sure why, but some colours I just have to do 2 coats, which is fine. It looks nice in the end, and it does darken it up for some things, but yeah, so I had to do that earlier. I'm not sure if you noticed. When I started this, I didn't really have a colour scheme in mind. I had maybe 1 or 2 colours that I for sure wanted to use, but otherwise I was just colouring in his outfit, trying to use the exact colours that they are in the game, which with the range that I have from the previous set, the 216 set, was actually ridiculously easy. I was really impressed with that because sometimes I really struggle matching colours, but no, this was really nice. Yeah, so I didn't really have a colour scheme in mind, so I'm quite happy that it all looks fairly cohesive. here I'm going over the trousers again, just because one, I wanted it to be a bit darker, but two, they were a little bit splotchy. Typically when I colour things, I try not to use too many different colours. I like to limit the amount of colours I use and use them again and again in the same picture, just to try and make something look more cohesive. But with this one, for whatever reason, I decided that almost everything was going to be a different colour. Obviously all the colours I use on Link in the big drawing is the same colours that I use on the little one as well. I actually wrote it down on a separate piece of paper just so I wouldn't forget, which I don't usually do, but it really helped, and I really should do that more in the future. I'm quite happy that this doesn't look like an eclectic mess. Except for the, you know, obviously this gear is supposed to look a bit. Yeah, so I also didn't really bother with shading as much. I shaded the skin because that's what I always do with skin. I seem to stick to the same colours when I come to doing skin, which is R19 as the base. I think it's R110 for the blush, and then either R11 or V11 as the shadow. Those just seem to be my go-to colours, but other than that I really didn't do much shading. I think I did a little bit on the Korok for some reason, and I do a little bit on Link later, but I just really liked it looking a bit more flat. I think I relied on the line work towards the end to give it more depth. Yeah, something I like about these pens, as you can see I'm doing on the Korok leaf, is I put the lighter colour down that I wanted for the highlights first, and then went in afterwards with the dark colours so that the lighter colours show through, because they just layer so well on each other. And that's like something that I always forget to do when I'm doing alcohol markers and like watercolour, because in a way they have the same method to them. I never remember that you should start with the lighter colours, so that was a good example with the Korok of how you should do it. Same with the sword. I wanted to start with the light colour and then build up on it. I actually think the blade of the sword could have been lighter. I think I accidentally went a little too dark, but I think it works out in the end. I gave it more detail, I think, than anything else in the picture, so I think it works out. But yeah, I always really like colouring in metals because you can give them such nice colours, because different metals can change colours depending on the lighting they're in. It's really fun to mess around with adding like blues and pinks and such. Like the actual blade of the sword initially seemed weird to colour it in blue, but then the more I add, it actually just makes it look like it is just a typical blade colour. It's gotten really hot here, and I've got my window open, which you can probably hear, so I'm sorry if you can hear the cars and stuff. But usually I have my fan on as well. I haven't got it on right now, so I am boiling. So I am suffering, so it's also frying my brain a little bit. I'm not really sure what I should be saying on this. This video might have a lot of quiet moments where you can just hear the music, and I'm sorry about that. I genuinely don't know what to say for half an hour, so yeah, there's going to be a lot of blank spaces. I'm very sorry about that. I've tried planning out scripts and it doesn't always seem to cover everything I need to say. oh, here I'm starting on the actual refill itself, which was really fun, trying to leave gaps so that it looks like it's actually in the plastic of the tube was really fun. I love doing that kind of thing. Same with glasses and such. So because I left a load of white gaps like on the bit where the cap screws on, I think it works quite well because like the thicker the plastic is, the less colour you'd see through it. So yeah, I'm just layering it up and trying to make it look like there was liquid in it. For some reason, I decided that I wanted it to be pink filling up the Master Sword. My brother pointed out that that's kind of weird. I probably should have gone for like a light blue or a mint blue or something, but no, I went with pink. I think it's because I've been using a lot of pinks lately. I've been using my Ohuhu pens a lot, and I've discovered the bright pink ones are my favourites. I've been using them a lot in most of my drawings. You might have noticed over on my Instagram. Like I posted a Will picture from Hannibal and there's just a lot of pink on that one. I've been using it for accents a lot. So I think that's probably why my brain immediately, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, this ink is going to be pink, so that's what we're going to do. And a bit later I actually use more of the pink, my favourite pink, to add some accents as well. I think it's the sparkle beams coming out of the sword, which after making the refill pink, it does seem to be more fitting, like it does make sense, so it's not too out of place. I don't know, I probably should have gone blue, but at the end of it, I really like the pink, so I'm not mad. So with the little one, I am showing the colours again, but they're basically just the same colours that I used on the big link, so that was a loud bird. Yeah, so I didn't really need to show them off, but I thought it might be helpful. I am sorry that the close-ups of the colours are blurry. Because this is a small drawing, my camera was quite close to the page, so there wasn't enough room to actually focus on the pen itself. At the end of the day, I am recording everything on my phone camera, so the focus is, like, it's not terrible, but it's not the best it could be, so I am sorry about that if that hurts your eyes or anything. It hurts my eyes. So honestly, I should probably look into buying a proper camera to record on, but my phone does work. It is quite decent. I'm recording my voiceover lines on it as well, so it's not terrible. Really, my problem is with my editing software. No matter how good the quality on my phone is, my editing software seems to like make it look worse, like dumb it down a little bit. I'm not really sure why. It's very annoying. I had trouble with editing this video at one point as well because I tried upping the quality and it decided it didn't want to recognise all the editing I'd done and all the cuts I'd made, and it just exported one single clip, which was very, very annoying because I had spent a long time editing that. But we got it fixed, which is why it is now at a slightly lower quality, so I'm sorry about that. I was hoping it would mean I could do higher quality videos in the future, but I think everything's just gonna have to stay at the same quality, so I hope that's cool with you guys. Yeah, so I've started working on the background now. I don't do backgrounds very often. I'm sure you've noticed by now if you've been following me and seeing my work for a while. I tend to avoid doing them because I'm not very good at them. I should really practice them, but I don't always want to, and I find that I typically don't need to do backgrounds, so yeah, I'm trying one now, and I think it turned out okay. The sketch itself was okay, I think. Having it so simple meant that it would look okay no matter what. But yeah, I was happy with how this turned out, and again, because I have so many colours, it meant I could do sort of gradients to imply colours, with the colours changing to imply things going into the distance. I think that worked really well. Like with the grass, you can see I'm drawing now, it just changes colour the further back it goes. And I'm honestly really happy with the grass, because when I first started I was like, oh, this doesn't look good, this is going to look really dull and boring. And then as soon as I added the grass, I was like, oh, I can see it. I can see the image coming together. This needs to be very green and almost vibrant. And I try and keep that with the trees. You'll see a bit later, I don't colour the trees in brown, they're greens. Oh, and this is supposed to mimic the fog from the woods, because obviously you have the fog that you can get lost in, so that's what that is if you're wondering. I think I got confused with some of it further back, but it ends up looking okay, so that's fine. Yeah, so I'm just implying loads of blobs to try and make it look like it's going further into the distance. And I thought it would look nice not to have everything grass, because I don't think everything in the forest is grass. I think there are dirt patches, which is what I am putting in now in this blurry footage. Yeah, and there's darker brown towards the back as well. Here I'm starting on the tree, so you can see it's a green tree for some reason. That's because I thought the brown would look kind of gross. I wanted it to be colourful, so it just fades back into darker green, and then I think it goes blue at some point, because I wanted it to look like they were in a dense forest, so I wanted it to get darker the further back it went. But then for some reason I decided to add some light patches, which you can see now it gets a bit lighter, because I wanted it to look like there were sunbeams coming through to make it look like that patch of the forest has got sun on it. But I hate it, it looks terrible, so I decide to cover it all up and just keep it dark, which I prefer. Like, I wanted to try and be fancy with it, but I am not practiced enough at backgrounds to do that, so I just kept it to something I know how to do. Yeah, and here I wanted the Master Sword to look depleted and gloomy, so I'm just trying to make it look like sort of dirty, sort of gloomy by adding the purple. Almost like, you know how they draw those things in manga where they have the lines over the characters where it's like, oh, they're feeling down about something. So yeah, I just wanted to darken it up. I didn't want it to look so bright and vibrant. And here is where I use my favourite pink. This is the pink I use all the time, and yeah, I decided to use it for the background, which I really like how it ended up looking, although I think it is a bit wonky with the stripes. I don't think they are all coming from where they should be coming from, but you know, it's fine. It looks cute. So yeah, because I have the light beams coming off of the sword, I didn't know what to do with the white area behind Link, so I debated colouring it in purple to imply like shadow, and I do this like hatching technique for some reason, which I end up hating, so then I go in and colour it all in, but because I did the hatching technique it just looks like a horrible splotchy mess and I hate it. I do change it later. Oh, and here I'm adding some shade, a little bit of shading to Link, which you can barely see on his clothes, which made no difference. Yeah, and then I just wanted to go in and add the line art with coloured pencil, just so that I can get the small details, but also because I really love how coloured pencil looks, so I'm just adding in a load of texture. For the little one, I'm just using the same colour for everything, which is like a dark red, and I think it looks really nice, especially on the brickwork. And I didn't want to line everything, so I only lined the important features, which were Link, the sword, and the Korok. Yeah, and I'm giving everything a thick outline just because that's how I like to do it. On the big Link, I am doing what I usually do, which is use a red for outlining skin so like his face and his arms and stuff, and then use this navy blue to outline literally everything else. Here I'm showing you how small my pencil is. It is dying. I am so sad that it is so small. I might even put a picture up to show you how big it actually is, because I've got a pencil holder which is really handy, but the one I'm using has these like metal rings on it which actually really hurt my hand after a while, and you know how you have to push hard with coloured pencils, so that's really quite annoying. But yeah, adding the pencil made me really happy because everything just looked like it was coming together. I like things having a dark outline, but I like the colour because it then keeps everything looking colourful rather than just using a black outline, which can really... Oh, I'm getting the pencil out for some reason. Yeah, using black can really make things look dull, so I really like using these colours, and using the blue on the Master Sword just brought it all together, I think. So yeah, I'm really happy with how the line work turned out. Here is where I'm like, I need to cover up this purple because I hate it. So I was trying to decide if I was going to make it black, like if that was going to ruin it, because I typically don't like using pure black in my drawings, but I gave in and I coloured it in black, even though I'm still thinking about it. When am I going to do it? There we go. Yeah, so I'm colouring it in black, and it works. It looks a lot better, and it actually makes the colours stand out more, so I am very happy about that. I did not like that purple, and thankfully with black it is really hard for it to look streaky. Oh, and here I'm using a paint marker to add in some extra details. I wanted to add in the lines and the writing on the refill pen and add some sparkles, and I really think it worked. I really think it brought everything together again. I keep saying that. Here I wanted to fill in some of the white of the background just because I didn't like how much white there was. I thought there was too much and certain things just weren't standing out because of it. So I used this colour, I think it was called Tea Rose, which I kind of like. It gives it this almost like candy wrapper vibe background, which I love. That is one of my favourite aesthetics, so I just put that in the background, added some more white sparkles and the text up top, and yeah, I really like how it looks. I am really happy with how this turned out. I was really happy with the refills. I think they're amazing, and I'm so glad we finally got some, because I'm always worried that my pens are going to run out, and what am I going to do when my favourites run out. So yeah, they were really easy to refill. I think having the two methods, especially on instructions, are so handy, because then you can just do it however way you want. Yeah, and I really like how this turned out. I really like the huge Ohuhu refill, and yeah, let me know what you think. The inks themselves, I've been told the inventory on them are limited, probably because they're so new. So I'm going to leave the links to them in the description down below. And I want to say thank you again to my Patreons. They have been amazing and sticking with me. So a huge thank you to Disper, Majin Pauly, Megan Palmer, Grimclow, Lily M, Bailey, Non-Toxic, Saint Nick's and LP. And a huge thank you to you guys for watching this video. I hope it was okay. I've been doing... Like I said, I'm doing more of these voiceover videos. I have a couple videos I recorded ages ago that I'm still currently editing, where I talk along with the video, so those will be out at some point. But for the most part now, most of my videos will be voiceovers. So I hope that's cool with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.